Two things you need from your real estate agent: experience and communication. Real estate is one of the highest areas I feel like in life, probably second to medical treatment, where the phrase, "you don't know what you don't know," can really kick your butt. Let's say you're a buyer, you've decided already you want to use a real estate agent. Now let's find the right one, okay? This business relationship, agent and client, is 1000% rooted in trust and respect. There has been many a times when I have been representing a client in a transaction and I'm saying to myself, or I say out loud to a colleague, I feel sorry for the client on the other side of this deal because they don't know that their agent is saying XYZ, or they don't know that their agent doesn't know about ABC of the contract or the transaction process. So, do your due diligence. Let's be really smart about who you're going to work with. Number one, it's got to be a personality match, right? Everybody has different personalities. Some get along, some don't. So even if you have the most experienced, wonderful agent in the world, sometimes you just don't gel with them, and that's okay. There are about-ish 150,000 realtors in the state of Texas, and around 5 million realtors in the United States. Realtors is a different terminology than real estate agent. That's a topic for another day, but that means that there are more licensed real estate agents than realtors. Realtors just means that you are a member of the National Association of Realtors. So there are way more licensed agents than even that, okay? Now, don't be confused. I'm going to talk about experience here, but don't be confused in that I am going to put out a video titled something like, "Don't be wary of the new agent," or "Don't sleep on the new agent." So this is not to be contradictory, but to give you options, give you something to think about. In some cases, working with somebody who's new in the real estate industry might be a really good fit. You can trip over a real estate agent pretty much anywhere you go, okay? So do not feel like you need to sign up with the very first one that you run into if you are looking to purchase a home or sell a home. Let's not fall into the trap of your cousin got licensed last week or last month and wants to do a deal and it just times just right that you want to buy a house. Let's let them practice and experiment on other people. Let's not you be the guinea pig for somebody new. Real estate school or getting certified in real estate, graduating from real estate, whatever they want to call it, does not teach you how to do real estate transactions. It teaches you a lot about the rules and the laws and math, acreage math and square footage math and things like that. It doesn't tell you how to run a transaction smoothly and things that buyers normally pay for that need to be negotiated, and vice versa. Definitely interview, talk to a couple of different real estate agents before you decide to pick one. And I'm assuming that you are already going to ask them the basics, things that naturally come to mind, like how long have you been doing this? How long have you been in the business? How many transactions have you done? How many have you done in my local area? I do want to pinpoint, to be specific about a timeline here on when we're talking about number of transactions. I've definitely learned this over the years. I have interviewed hundreds and hundreds of agents to bring on in various capacities as agent or transaction coordinator or some other role. So you specifically want to know how active this person has been in the business, how many transactions they've done, let's say within the last 12 months. If they've done 10 transactions over 10 years, maybe not the most knowledgeable unless they're just really active and engaged within their own team, and the community at large and events within the industry. So be specific about the timeline so that you get a really good idea of what that experience truly looks like, especially anything within since last August, so less than a year, when the contract forms changed from the NAR rule changes, which is in video 1 if you haven't checked it out yet. Okay, let's get back to it. So you're already asking them about their experience, yada, yada. Here are 2 things that I want you to ask them. Number 1, I want you to ask them what changes have occurred due to the NAR rule changes in August 2024. Simple. That's it. You don't have to know what they are. You don't need to know the answer. You don't even need to know what NAR is, National Association of Realtors. What's important here is how this person is able to communicate with you. If they stumble through their answer, it's not clear, if you're confused by the time that they are done answering this for you, then what is going to be your confidence in them working as your agent in them trying to explain to you the purchase or sale process of the entire transaction? What is going to be your confidence in the advice that they give you? Thinking about when you're speaking with someone to potentially work together with in this transaction is business for them, very personal for you. It's about their confidence and how they're able to communicate, because how they can or cannot communicate with you tells you a lot about how they will be able to communicate with the other parties in the transaction. If they say something, the response is like, nothing has really changed. Oh, business is going as usual. It was no big deal. Red flag. It is a big deal. A lot of things changed, and someone who is saying otherwise may just not have a good grasp of what those changes entail. If at some point in this conversation, the person that you're speaking with says something to the effect of, it's the law that a buyer has to sign an exclusive buyer's agency agreement. It's the rule that a buyer has to sign and agree to an exclusive agency agreement. Ask clarifying questions. Because while it absolutely may be the policy of that agent's brokerage to get an exclusive buyer's agency agreement, it's not the policy of all brokerages. There are no laws regarding this, there are only rules. So terminology is important, words matter, and knowing exactly what is going on throughout the entire industry and not just one person's brokerage is important. So these responses, I do not think whatsoever are intentionally wrong. They're not malicious. It's just someone that doesn't have an understanding of how other brokerages outside of theirs are doing business. Second and last question I want you to ask them is, what service do they provide, and how does the value that they provide to their clients stand out against their competitors, the other agents in the field, right? There's thousands and thousands of other people to choose from. Why them? Is that too bold of a question to ask? It definitely is one that they should have been practicing their answer to since the day they got their real estate license. Again, you're looking for clear communication. A red flag for me here with this question would be if they start to talk bad about another agent, or agents in general. If they start to talk bad about other brokerages or specific brokerage, that's a red flag, because that's a violation of the code of ethics in our industry for NAR members. And if someone's going to start off with violating code of ethics, maybe you should speak to a couple of other agents and see what they are offering to bring to the table as service to you as their client.